Good evening, everybody. It's again another Friday, 5:30 in the evening, Kuala Lumpur time, and you have joined us live on the Sheila Exchange. And today, I have an entrepreneur extraordinaire joining us. Now, in the midst of a pandemic, when others were worrying about what to do, frozen in fear, scared to start anything new, Suthan Mookaiah was doing. People are worrying, he's doing. He started by providing food packages for the needy. So clearly there's a man with a heart for, the needy. And not content with that, he thought about what more he could do. And he decided to start a social enterprise that created job and entrepreneurship opportunities for people. And thus, Beli Gas was born. The company delivers gas to people within 20 minutes of ordering. That's their customer charter. And it's now on its way to becoming one of the leading gas providers in the Klang Valley, gas tank providers, with competitive prices and great user reviews because we've done our research. Welcome, Suthan. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, sometimes we get people saying, hey, I got a great story. Can I come and tell people about it? And I'm like, sure. Sometimes off the top of my head, there are people I know and I think their story is great. Yours was something that I came across on social media, on Facebook precisely. And I thought, wow, I have to talk to this guy. I have to get him onto the Sheila Exchange, right? So here you are. Thank you for agreeing out of the blue to this, this invitation that came out of the blue. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for honoring me like that. I feel so humble that you feel that way. We have not really done much, but we really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, but I think it's still in the starting phase. But you personally have done much with your life. At a very young age, became an entrepreneur, did very well for yourself. And I think it was in the technical side, right? It was in the IT business, right?
Yes.
Correct. And, you were named, you were some sort of entrepreneurship awards were given to you and all that. Yep. Have you always had an entrepreneurial spirit? I mean, do you come from that sort of a family?
Okay, so not really. I came from a very humble Indian family that was staying in basically a local ghetto. It's called West Country. So no, I was not in. We are not born with silver spoon. We were not born with being an entrepreneur in our mindset. But for as long as I know, I always been in business. When I was young, I used to sell stationeries in school. Right after SPM, I went to Johor to find a job, but ended up learning how to make contents and sell online. This was way back in 2003. I was even one of the top 3 pioneers back then who were doing marketing online. There was no such term as social media even at the time. From there, we went from a B2C model where we used to sell contents to people, and then we upgraded to selling branded contents with telcos. I also do other businesses as well, which is not as fancy as that, but I also do other things. Yeah.
You have a restaurant, I believe.
Yeah. Okay, so pretty much anything I take fancy, where I can use my resources to help the needy, I'll go into this kind of business. So I used to dabble in cars for rent, where I used to
what?
give
Sorry?
Car rental.
Okay.
So where I used to give car rental for those who needed cars to drive with Grab. I used to personally get those guys who are poor, who can't afford to get a car, and I'll basically get a car for them and ask them to go drive the car. This was that time when the drivers can earn 5 figures. All they need is an opportunity. So I buy over a car and I'll just give them. Then after that, I also took over a Chinese mixed rice shop, and then I turned this into this 23 hours fusion Chinese mama kopitiam for one of the Chinese guys. I also have a car wash. I also be doing crypto. Yeah, I do a couple of things here and there.
Okay, just a minute. I believe there is a bit of a problem.
Yeah, I see.
interrupted.
Right.
So I'll just keep on going and we'll see. We'll keep on going and we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
That's one of the things about the
Yes.
virtual world, right? You never know. You're so reliant on connections. Well,
Correct.
thank you, Facebook, for getting us back up again. Yes. Yeah, so you took a Chinese, sorry, we lost that part. You took a Chinese over a mixed rice shop and then turned it into a
23 hours fusion Chinese mama kopitiam.
And where is this located? I think
This
when
is
the
located in
MCO is
Sungai
over,
Long.
must come. In
Sungai Long.
Sungai Long. Oh,
Yeah,
not that
Sungai Long
far.
is
So,
yeah, in Kajang.
okay. Tell you what, after MCO, we'll come by and, check
Please
out your
do, please
restaurant.
do.
Okay, so you started with the IT business, and then you a sort of social media marketing business, providing content to telcos. You open your restaurant. You kind of did a social entrepreneurship in buying the cars and then renting it out. That's always I'm seeing a social conscience, right? With you, always wanting to help those. Does it come from the fact that you came from a family that was not born with a silver spoon and you had to come up the hard way?
Yeah. So I was raised in this poor background growing up, and I know how hard life can be for people, especially during trying times like this. I came from West Country. My father was a grass cutter. My mother was a factory worker. As a family, we have been through many hard times growing up. All right. So I know personally how this lockdown will be for people, especially struggling B40s. I know the lockdown will not be easy for them. I did that care package so that other families and children will not end up struggling with food like how I used to my family last time.
And your parents are they still around?
No, they are not. They are not.
Oh,
They passed away a couple of years back.
But I'm sure that you had already started your entrepreneurial journey and they must have been very proud of you.
Scared and they were scared initially, but they were okay towards the end.
Yeah, that's the thing. When parents come from this mindset where they are working for people to get an income, they're always very scared when you step out on your own to start a journey. I mean, in a sense, that way we share something in common. When I stepped out of paid employment to start my own business, everyone around me was very scared. It's like, you're not going to have a salary at the end of the month. But, here I am 14 years later, and I think it's all about believing in yourself, isn't it?
That's true. That's true.
Right?
Yeah, I agree on that.
So your philanthropic mindset and helping others came from the fact that you came from a background that wasn't privileged. And of course, sometimes you had hard times as well.
Yeah.
And so, but not a lot of people think that way, Suthan. A lot of people, when they sort of come up, from tough places and climb up, make a success of themselves, they don't often think of other people. So that's really something else, really commendable. So what prompted you to start Beli Gas during a pandemic? Where did the idea come from? Tell us about the business model.
Well, that was also an expansion of the care pack actually. I also know that my resources are limited and that people, especially the poor ones, are not looking for mercy. They're not looking for handouts actually. They will love to be dignified and get into a job, but they can't. All right. I wanted to expand the care that we provide for Malaysians during the pandemic. At that time, the lockdown was really hard on people, and we needed to provide a job that was lockdown proof. A very chance observation of a regular gas dealer to my kopitiam sparked the initial idea. After much research and maybe not enough deliberation, we jumped heads first into it.
Sometimes that's not such a bad thing. Before you can deliberate and think, oh no, this one, we just go by instinct, right?
Yeah.
And so how did it happen really?
I noticed this gas dealer. Everybody was sitting in home, and I used to be working in the kopitiam at that particular time. Everybody was not able to go to work, but this gas dealer, he used to come to my shop day in, day out to deliver gas, and we had a really hard time to get gas delivered to our kopitiams at that particular time. I even had a problem to get gas delivered to my house. That particular moment, I realized that hey, there's an opportunity there. What if I can take this particular business, turn it up, turn it up, get more people inside it, and using my skills as a tech entrepreneur, create an app, make things better, and provide an employment or even a micro entrepreneurship program. So that's basically how Beli Gas just got started. We just basically one day decided that we should do this, and we just started.
So you started it with some partners.
Um, Not really. We started it on our own. We had friends and partners, I mean, friends and family who basically helped us. But this is more like a personal thing.
I see. So, I mean, that's very interesting, right? Because this is one of the things I'm constantly advocating. Go out there into the world, into the market, see what is desperately needed by people, and see
Mhm.
whether you can plug that gap. And often there are things we need personally,
Yes.
and we think, how are we going to get it? But we often go like, oh, we can't get it, and then that's it, that's the end of the story. For you, needing the gas for your house and needing the gas for your kopitiam sparked you to look at that gap and start a business, and that's really interesting.
Um, I always look at things in a different way. I do not like to be a consumer. I always like to be a producer of things. So wherever I see there is something that I basically need it or I basically want to use it myself, I always will research to see whether I can produce it myself. And that's basically how Beli Gas even started actually.
Hmm. That's just, I mean, that's really interesting because I live in a home where gas is piped in,
Yeah,
but right, so I don't have this issue. But in a sense of when you live in a house where you rely on gas tanks and all that, it
yeah.
can be very frustrating, right? You're in the middle of cooking and suddenly your gas finishes, and right now MCO, you just can't go out and eat and all that last minute.
Yes.
So you really, really sort of nailed it, finding a business that would work for people.
Thank you.
So how did it go down? How did the model work? So you built an app, and then with your expertise in marketing, right?
Yeah.
Digital marketing and so on, you made your business known out there. But how did it take off? What was the
Um,
response like?
Okay, so initially when we started it, basically use social media. We even still do use social media to basically promote the business out. We basically go into the community directly. How I basically do it is we do videos, we do posts, we do graphics, these kind of things, and we go into the local groups, basically local community groups. We share the details about Beli Gas, and then we basically tell people about the differences that we do for the community. Our usually a gas dealer will sell their gas above 30 ringgit plus, and they will take I don't know hours or even days to get to send you gas if they do. But we basically have an app. You can order your gas cooking your cooking gas anytime, and we deliver. Basically deliver based on what the customer wants. If the customer wants it in the next 1 hour, we deliver it. If the customer wants it to be cheap, we deliver it. We give them the option to choose pre-order to get the gas very very cheap. And we
Mm,
basically make sure that we deliver on the price that we say that we're going to deliver, and that's
mm,
how we get it out. So a lot of our business are by word of mouth, and we spark conversations online. We share awareness by way of posts and videos, and that thing is working for us right now.
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really amazing. Now, so do you have a time frame for the delivery? Like, is it like 9 to 5, or is it 9 to 10 at night? How are your hours like?
So you can basically order your gas 24 hours a day using our
Ah,
app, but we deliver cooking gas from 9 to 6 as a standard delivery. If you want anything above that, it's going to be over the regular hours where you are then where you pay a
you
surcharge.
charge a premium lah,
Yeah,
surcharge,
they
yeah.
charge up this, but and that happens up to 11 o'clock in the night. So
Ah,
9 to
that's a
11.
relief, right? I
Yes,
mean, if you're like a restaurant and then you're cooking at 7 or 8 o'clock and they're like, I need the gas. So,
yes.
so
Actually,
SOS to Beli Gas.
yes, actually, a lot of people who are working in factories get our service after 8 o'clock. They come back late from factory. They take their bath. They want to start cooking, and then they find out there's no gas. Usually, they cannot find anybody to deliver them gas. But Beli Gas is now fulfilling the gas for them right now.
So it's actually very, very consumer centric, very consumer friendly, very flexible. And I think actually that's what the market wants today. Consumers, it's become a consumer's world. They have so much of choices, right?
Yes.
So this is amazing. Like, you don't have to go and call your little kedai runcit and say, hey, boleh hantar gas. You just go onto the app, like high-tech ordering when gas tanks. So that's so cool.
Yeah.
Now you turn this into a social entrepreneurship in like helping other people build the business. Can you tell us about that business model? So you say there's someone out there is listening today and they're like, hey, I'd like to get into this business. So how does it work?
Okay, so we are a social enterprise, but we work on a for-profit model to ensure we are sustainable. For this, we get people who are interested to run a Beli Gas outlet in their local area, and then get them to be part of our dealer program. As HQ, we take care of the tech, the marketing, the licensing, the logistics, while dealers will do the end mile deliveries to homes and business outlets. How it works is that we'll basically supply it to our dealers on a harga pembekal or or basically on a supplier pricing, and they will then sell it on a retail pricing that we have already fixed inside the app.
So it's a fixed retail price. So if like say I come on board and do this with you, it's according to your price. So there's no you know fooling around with the pricing and all that sort of thing.
You can,
That's good.
yes.
And so when you talk about how many outlets do you have, by the way, right now?
So we serve about 123 areas in Selangor. We have about 11 outlets right now, I guess, in Selangor itself. We are currently in Shah Alam, Rawang, Kajang, Ampang, Ceras, Pelakong, Sri Kembangan, Semenyi. We are also opening up in Puchong. We are opening up in Shamelin in February. We are also currently expanding to Johor and Penang as well. So we are pretty much going up everywhere right now.
And how many of these entrepreneurs do you have that are working with you?
So we onboarded about 12 dealer partners, we call them. We also hired about 28 peoples, B40s basically, B40s to work with us at our
So
outlet.
they are like your employees, and then you've got your business partners who are the entrepreneurs that
Yes,
you
correct.
work with. Okay, so if someone wants to open up an outlet, the outlet is purely for storage, right?
Storage of not just gas, it's more for storing of their logistics. So we basically will deliver from our warehouse to their part. They will already have the orders coming in inside the app. All they have to do when the orders are delivered to them in their local place, they'll have to take it and then supply it to all the businesses and restaurants or wherever it is that orders gas in the local area.
So do they find the venue, the facility, or do you help them?
So we help them as well. We basically will allow the dealers to choose an area, and then we basically will give them a basic indication of what the kind of places that they're supposed to find. We also help them to go and take a look at the outlet and finally decide on the kind of places that they can take.
So it's a sort of a very much like a mentoring program from, they come on board and say, hey, I want to do this, and you mentor them end to end. And that's really great,
Yes.
So yeah. And I think you told us that where your areas are very much in the Klang Valley and a little of the outer Klang Valley. Do you
Yeah.
plan to replicate this model in other cities, major cities, Penang, Ipoh, Johor Bahru, and so on?
Yes. So we are looking to extend to, like I told you just now, Johor and Penang very soon. We are in fact ready to roll out our first presence in Penang by Jan, and then it will happen. So so we are waiting for it to be over. We are pretty much sure that it'll be opening up in Georgetown soon. We are also talking about opening up in Johor as well, in Tampoi, and that's still that's basically on still rough on the sketches. We see how it goes.
And are you going to, when you open up in all these cities, are you going to maintain this business model where you kind of sort of retail control over everything, or would you be thinking of going into some sort of franchise model?
Um, it always has to be on this dealership partner kind of a model. We still want to maintain the control on the service and also on the pricing, so that so that we can make sure that the SDG that we want to provide, basically to provide fair pricing for the end consumers, to provide employment for Malaysians, are protected. And not tarnished if we go on any other models. So we'll continue to have this kind of control wherever.
And I think that's really great because, in this day and age, everyone wants to like make a quick buck and like, oh, we'll franchise it, we'll give it off to somebody else. And then after a while, you kind of lose the quality, your customer charter gets diluted. People do things differently. They might not even be doing it according to your values, your brand values, and then your reputation can actually suffer. So I think that's really great. And what has been the feedback from your customers so far?
Oh, um, the feedback has been tremendously good. We have a lot of grassroots support for Beli Gas right now. We have 5-star reviews all the time. If you go and check out our 1-star reviews, we still do have 1-star review. That is basically from customers who are not happy that we are not in their local area just yet.
If you're not in their area, then what, you're delivering out of your area, then how are they your customers? Just complaining like, hey, why don't you come and open it now?
They downloaded our app and then they wanted to order their gas, and then they're not happy when they found out that we are not supplied to the area yet, and then they leave one use. But that's good. It shows how in demand we are, how in demand our services are, and that drives us further to open up quickly, so that we can bring down this 1-star reviews.
Yeah, good idea, that one. And I mean, I think if you're getting 1-star reviews because you are not supplying to that area because of logistics, I think that's a good thing. That kind of 1-star review is okay, can boleh terima lah, that one. So again, in terms of extending your reach, how many new areas are you planning to open up in, say, the next 3 months if the MCO is lifted?
We are hoping to open up at least another 20 outlets. Our big idea for 2021 is to open up 100 outlets. And if everything goes well, and our expansion plans goes up as how it's going right now, I think we probably can get the number by this year.
And who would have thought, right? You started a business out of a personal need, and then you went out and engaged all these business partners. And today here you are in a thriving business that's expanding, week by week, month by month. Yes. So clearly you've got what they call the Midas touch of the true entrepreneur, and a generous spirit to go with it. It's very hard to find this combination, right? Now, Suthan, you started many businesses, and I did my research today, some article that said that you made your first million in your 20s, when you were in your 20s. Oh yeah, must do research, I simply cannot come and ask you some superficial questions, because I really want to know, and I think your audience is listening would really, really be interested to know, what is the secret of your success? How do you keep doing this, opening new businesses and making them work?
Okay, secret of success, pretty much not a success, but just mainly mindset. We never take no for an answer. And while we might not have all the answers to kickstart, we just jump in, knowing that we will be able to learn. We might fail, but it's okay to fail, and we will pivot quickly to the right way. That particular mindset always helped me to grow.
And I think that's a fantastic learning for everyone, because most people are even afraid to start. right? And then they want to sit down and look at all the facts and figures and charts and, you know, Excel spreadsheets. And then by the time they look at it, they're like, oh no, we can't do this. And then they allow their own limiting belief to stop them. But
Correct.
what you're saying is there is a need. I'm saying that instead of just thinking and talking about it, jump in and get it done.
Get it done.
And
Just get it
if
done.
it works, it works.
Yes.
And if it doesn't work, then go do something else.
Yes.
Right?
That's that.
And that's precisely what you have done, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes. Don't really too much. Just jump in.
And
I didn't know
ultimately,
what was the weight of the cylinder when I first started. Do you know that?
sorry?
I didn't know what was the weight of the cylinder when I first started.
Oh, really? You
It's
just
really by
simply
the-
said, I want to do this business. Now, I know people like that, right? I have friends like that. They're just like, okay, I'm passionate about this. I don't know much about it, but I'm going to get started. You know?
Mhm.
And I think that is so amazing because it shows a lot of courage. And sometimes in a similar way, I when I started my business, I didn't know anything about running a business. I've been in paid employment for forever, right? Then
Yeah.
I said, okay, I want to go out. I want freedom. I'm going to come and start my own training and coaching business. People said to me, "Hey, this time of, you know, the economy is not good. You know, first thing they'll do is they'll cut all the training budget and all that. Are you sure you're going to be able to survive?" And
Yes.
here I am 14 years later. I didn't know any better. I just said, I want to do this. It was a combination of passion. It was a combination of being compelled by my values at that time was freedom. I didn't want people telling me what to do. Not that I'm a rebel. I'm very obedient. I'm Indian. Indian children normally very obedient. We listen to our parents. but yeah, but you know, I just thought that this is what I want to do, and if I don't do it, I'm gonna do it. And you know, you're so blessed. You started much younger than me, and you like for you it's like biasa now. Start a business, it works, carry it on. It doesn't work, then you know, stop
Well,
and do something else, right?
that's it. Just go do something else. Something will work on. Throw something, something will stick. That's what I believe in.
That's amazing. That's such a optimistic attitude to have in business. And I hope everyone who's listening out there is inspired by this because I am inspired by this. And I've started an art business such like that, you know, and planning to take it to another place. Maybe I should come and talk to you about the online marketing and all that. Again, just a final question for you, Suthan. What advice do you have for those who are just starting a business or want to start a business but are apprehensive about the pandemic and its impact?
Well, like you said just now, a lot of people look at it in a very limiting mindset. Don't look at this particular pandemic in such a worrying way. Take it positively. For me, this pandemic and lockdown have allowed us to tap into many resources which was not possible. Markets have less competitions now. Paid ads are much more cheaper. Mergers and acquisitions are so much more easier to get right now. There's a lot of talent, good talents out there that you are possibly have not seen in the last decade. All these are basically elements of growth and elements of good companies that you can basically tap in to grow your business. So if you ask me, this is basically the right time to kickstart your passion project or your company. Go for it. Don't be scared. What's the worst that can happen? You might fail. So what? Start another one. Start another one. Something will always stick on. And when that happens, you'll be happy.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. We are completely aligned. I always have this belief there are no wrong decisions.
Mm-hmm.
There are only decisions that don't work for you. And
Mm.
if that decision doesn't work for you, change and make another decision and go in another direction. It's like driving from here to Penang, right? If you're driving on the road and there's a landslide in Tak Jadi, you cannot go, take another road lah. Don't patah balik, kan?
That's it.
Correct?
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Suthan. It's been a pleasure having you on the Sheila Exchange today. Thank you for agreeing to be here and for inspiring us with your, your story. And if anyone runs out of gas, I'll give them your number. And I'll just tell them to download the app.
Just go to beligas.my or download our app Beli Gas.
Okay, download the Beli Gas app, and then buy and they'll send the gas to you.
Correct.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. There you go. Thank you. You've
Thank
been listening. Thank you very much. You've been listening to Sheila Singham speaking to Suthan Mookaiah on the Sheila Exchange. Right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.